All right, joining us now is the Democratic Congressman Dan Kildee of Michigan. He's the co-chair of the House Democratic Steering and Policy Committee. He is also, importantly, a member of the House Budget Committee and the Ways and Means Committee. And those are two committees that are actually really important. If you want to have a discussion about how much we spend and whether we spend too much and how much we take in, there is actually, Congressman, and good to see you, sir, there's actually a process built in to do this. It's not this process. My whole argument here is that if Republicans think that we spend too much money, or we don't take in enough money, that is an entirely valid argument to be having, not here and now about the debt ceiling.
That's exactly right, Ali. Not here and now, and not with the threat of blowing up the U.S. and global economy, as if that is a reasonable approach to resolving differences around spending policy. They, meaning the Republicans, have a majority on the Appropriations Committee and can pass appropriations bills that reflect their priorities. This is in the House. They have a majority on the Ways and Means Committee, which affects tax policy and lots of other aspects of this. They have a majority on the Budget Committee. Of course, I serve on that. Bring your budget to the Budget Committee,
right,
and pass. But they haven't done that. And I tell you why, Ali. They do not have enough faith in the power of their argument. And so what they're trying to do is use the threat of default to get Democrats to help cover what are their priorities. They want us to cover for them.
Well, that's exactly what you heard Garrett Graves saying. He said Democrats want to default on the debt to keep welfare recipients from working or something of that nature. So the phrasing on this is that you guys are prepared to default on the debt if they don't get the cuts they want.
We're prepared to vote tomorrow to raise the debt ceiling and not default on the debt, and let the Republican majorities in the House work on their budget bill, work on their appropriations bills, work on tax policy in the Ways and Means Committee, knowing that at least for this moment, we're in the minority and we're not likely to be able to carry the day on those fights. But they don't want it that way. They want Democratic votes in order to do take these nefarious actions to hurt the poorest of the poor. But they leave alone, Ali, and this is the thing that just makes me so frustrated. They talk a good game when it comes to work requirements, for example, trying to decide which of the poor should benefit from health care, food on the table. Meanwhile, they refuse to look at the other side of the ledger and require people who are making millions and billions of dollars, corporations and individuals, to pay anything close to their fair share for the simple cost of providing basic services that the government needs in order to maintain a civil society. A budget, this argument is a statement of their priorities. They prioritize cutting health care and food for the poor and saving or preventing any people at the very top of the economy from having to even pay as much in taxes as people who drive a school bus do. That's insane.
Right. There's all sorts of problems in our tax system, and we know that. There are all sorts of people who pay and companies that pay nothing in tax. So here's the irony, is that this hill that Republicans have decided to die on here, and that is the one as it relates to work provisions for certain things that money people get. This is literally targeting the least among us. This is literally saying to people, and there is no evidence, in fact, there is evidence to the contrary, that all that will result from this is not more people working, because we have a 3.5% unemployment rate in this country, but it will result in lots of people not getting government assistance. So we have decided that they're the ones who go under the bus now.
No question about it. And then to hear my Republican colleagues, particularly the Speaker, say that he wants to solve this problem. A problem that they and they alone created. When Donald Trump was president, we raised the debt limit. When Barack Obama was president, we've done this over and over again. The notion that they fear the argument in the Appropriations Committee or in the Ways and Means Committee or in the Budget Committee, they fear the value of their own argument, that they can't prevail with it. So they're going to use a crisis that they themselves have created and then take credit for solving it, when the only thing they seem willing to give, I've heard them say this, the only thing they think Democrats should get is that we don't default. I mean, come on. This is evidence of what took place when Kevin McCarthy made a deal with the absolute nuttiest people ever elected to Congress in order to become Speaker. This is him living up to that deal. It's nothing more and nothing less. And it's really frightening. The real question is whether he'll exercise leadership and tell those nutty dozen no.
So
that's when we'll see.
Every single Republican has signed on to this idea that there could be a way around this, a discharge petition, which is the way in which you would work around Kevin McCarthy and get this vote to the floor. You still need 5 Republicans. There are at least 18 Republicans who are vulnerable because they won seats in places that Joe Biden won the election in 2020. There are also another dozen or so Republicans who are part of the Problem Solvers Caucus, and I understand, maybe you know more about this, that they are working on some potential alternate solution. Is it more likely, it sounds like it's not likely at all that any Democrats will go over and support a bad deal. Is it more likely that a few Republicans might come over and support Democrats in getting a clean bill passed?
That remains to be seen. They have it within their power right now. There are several Republicans who voted against their so-called debt ceiling bill, which was really these draconian cuts to essential public services, which actually itself would have pushed us into recession. There are Republicans who voted against that. The question is whether they have the courage to stand out and to be separated from the most outrageous voices and the Speaker and do the right thing for the American people. We're willing to do it. 213 Democrats, every single one of us has signed on that discharge petition. 5 Republicans, 5 people, 5 individuals could end this right now, and then they could go do their appropriate. Whether they have the courage to do it, I have my doubts, Ali.
Yeah, that's really right. Raising the debt ceiling doesn't mean capitulating to a Democratic view of what the budget should be. That is still a process that you are on, and your point is correct. They still have a majority in all those committees, so they can still live to fight another day on that one. Sir, good to see you as always. Dan Kildee, Michigan Congressman.